what do you think are the most important issues for women, issues facing women in your country? So we'll start with Victoria.
We're seeing a huge wave of objectification and all that it implies. We're seeing a huge growth of women's traffic for sexual exploitation, and we are being more and more treated like objects. To the point that it's considered empowering and feminist to do porn. And even recently, in the last couple of days, a journalist in an interview with a porn actress called her a feminist leader. So this is a big confusion. Like I said, everyone's trying to collate, even the left, even the most visible leaders of the left talk about sex work. So even the Me Too promoters here, the liberal feminists, talk about the sex work as something empowering and something that is due to voluntary will or something. So we see that, and it's very worrying because we see the trafficking growing by the day. We see women and girls go missing every day, and we're being invisibilized with these dehumanizing terms that I've told you about. And instead of, women worker movements do not get this much of media visibility like the Union of Domestic Workers. They don't get that much TV or voice or microphones in the radio. Other thing is the webcam prostitution, because with this COVID, the lockup and all of this, the pimps have let women in the brothels like die, whatever. They don't care if the brothels close, because the main business, the big money, is in the webcam prostitution. And everywhere there are advertisement of webcam modeling, like they call us. And we have the sad honor, the sad title to have the only porn university in the world. So this is the situation in Colombia, the epicenter of sex exploitation of women in Latin America, has resulted in the legitimization in society of an institution that wants to train women to be exploited and make it fashionable and make it empowering and make it acceptable. There are a few men that are very proud of seeing sort of 50,000 women in the studios, the webcam studios, in the websites of webcam prostitution, and in this what they call webcam university. So it has become even funded by the states and big ONGs that work with refugees like ACNUR. So it's very worrying, the situation here. In the borders, in the cities of the borders, is especially worrying because the influx of Venezuelan women has resulted in a nutrition of the prostitution market and in more and more exploitation of the women, more dehumanizing conditions of women in this exploitation.
So we'll now go to Olga. What do you think are the most important issues facing women in your country?
Well, I think it's domestic violence, which is very widespread, very underreported and normalized. Then it's femicide, which is, again, we don't know the exact number of women killed each year, but basically around 30 women are killed each year. And each one, and probably the number is even higher because it's only the number that we see in the papers. And it's most of the times those murders are committed by their spouses, by their intimate partners, by family members. And it's just an escalation of domestic violence that was already happening for a very long time. I mean, we are a patriarchal society, so if something goes wrong in marriage, in family, it's usually the woman's fault. So the usual question is, what did you do to provoke him? Or why didn't you keep silent, etc. There is the lack of economic independence is also a huge problem, especially in rural regions where women have very little job opportunity, very few job opportunities, and are usually simply eliminated from the testament, or by the law they have the right to inherit a part of the land, but they are usually traditionally pressured by the family to leave it all, to give it all away to the brother. So they basically are left without anything, and it's a really tough situation for women in rural regions of Serbia. And I think also the lack of activism, and the lack of awareness. Feminism is still a dirty word. So if you say you're a feminist, it's like, I don't know, it's like you practically murdered somebody or something.
So we'll move to Heli from the Netherlands. What do you think are the most important issues facing women in your country?
First of all, you know, that it's already taboo, and very soon it's going to be illegal for women to gather in any public space without men. And then there is a wave of physically mutilated, psychologically damaged young lesbians who are going to be coming into our community. These young women who we have allowed to be maimed and sterilized will be asking us why we couldn't and why we did nothing to stop them being made culpable in their own mutilation. And that voice is already rising, you know, but today there's like, this weekend, there's a lesbian festival in Nijmegen. I didn't go because it's called a lesbian festival, but it specifically invites bisexual and trans women to take part. Personally, I believe that lesbian festivals, you know, should ask non-lesbian women to exclude themselves and request that they protect their right to that space, you know. And we're in a situation where all the experts that I've looked at are saying they have no idea why hordes of young and often lesbian women are desperate to be men. But this is at a time when their bodies are starting to develop in a society where their bodies are reflected back to them, sexualized and objectified, and in a set space where porn, as Victoria's already said, is seen as normal and a valid trade. So there's all these things that we are incapable of addressing, but I really think there's going to be a massive backlash that is going to come to us, you know. And what do we do with all these damaged women in our community?